Hello everyone, it's Nina. Thanks for joining me today for another video. I thought I would break out some new products from Simon Says Stamps to the Moon collection and create an edge-to-edge shaker card. I couldn't decide what items I wanted to use from this collection because so many of them are so good that I was like, you know what, I'm going to pair a whole bunch of them together and make a really cool card that has not only that fun edge-to-edge shaker card effect, but I'm also going to use the Stylized Heart and Stylized Heart Stencil, the die and the stencil combo. I'm going to use those to create a floating die cut effect because we're going to attach the heart onto our shaker. So on my desk, I have the Stylized Heart die, the Stylized Heart Stencil, and also the Peony and Leaves Stencil. I'll also pull in a sentiment set here in a minute too. Well, let's start first with the stencils. I'll take the Stylized Heart Stencil and lay this right into the center of a white A2 panel with two of Simon's Pawsitively saturated inks in Bubblegum and Taffy. I'm going to ink blend through the Stylized Heart Stencil. I'm using Simon Says Stamp blending brushes to help me blend through this stencil because they're nice and soft, and I really like the smooth blending that these help you get, along with when you pair them with the Simon Says Stamp Pawsitively saturated inks. These two work really well together, and I find I get super smooth blends with these products. So I'm going to blend a little bit of an ombre between the lightest and the darkest colors here to create a nice transition. It's going to give it a nice bit of contrast down along the bottom here. I'm going to remove that stencil, bring in that bubblegum again, and I'm going to now add some of that bubblegum around the edges, fading that out as it goes towards the center around the heart. So I'll make sure I go all the way around the card panel before I move on to the next bit of stenciling. This time I will pull in that Peony and Leaves stencil. I spritzed it with some pixie spray. I can't tell you how much I really love using this pixie spray for delicate stencils like this because it holds it in place really nicely and I don't have to worry about the stencil getting pulled up as I blend. I'm going to start first with the bubblegum ink and I'll go around the edges of the stencil just like I did for the background that's underneath. Then with Taffy, I'll slowly transition and bring that darker color in towards the middle, making sure I don't cover up all of the bubblegum. But that's going to give me a really nice halo around this heart, and it's going to provide more contrast just like the first round of stenciling did. Oscar, of course, needs to be part of everything, so he was checking out what I was in the middle of. And of course, I'm thinking he's going to get ink all over his paws, so I told him to go chase his mouse. I'm going to put my panel inside of my splatter box here, and I'm just going to take a bit of Shimmer Mist from Brutus Monroe and spritz some of that around to create a nice shimmery texture. You don't have to do this, but I always love a good little bit of glimmer on my card, so I thought this would be a nice finishing touch for it. While that dries, I'm going to take the Stylized Heart die and I'll cut it from some Simon Says Stamp glitter cardstock. This is the silver color, but you could use another color if you would prefer, maybe gold, or if you wanted to, you could use red or pink. I'm going to have that die cut float above the Stylized Heart that we stenciled. So this is going to look really pretty and also add some nice sparkle. This Adore You greeting is from the All About You stamp set that's part of this release. I'm going to stamp it with embossing ink. So I took some Simon Says Stamp embossing ink. I'll stamp it onto black cardstock. And then with some white embossing powder, I can sprinkle that over top of the ink. And then my heat tool will allow me to set that powder and give this a really nice crisp white greeting off of that black cardstock. This will contrast beautifully with the colors that we have in our card. There are coordinating dies for this set. If you have them, you can definitely go ahead and trim this out. But if you don't have the dies, you could just cut this into a little sentiment banner, like a rectangle or something. I have a piece of stamp packaging here. This is just some thin plastic. And I'm going to lay my background panel right down into that plastic and start covering the outer edges of the panel with red line tape from Simon. I will go ahead and make sure I get that up close to each edge of my card, and then I'll lay that panel right back down on top of that plastic and start folding the edges of the plastic around the background panel and into the adhesive on the back side. So we're forming a shaker well here. The plastic is basically creating a wrap around that background. So we're going to trap all of the sequins that we want to use for our shaker inside of this piece of plastic. I did have this cut a little bit larger than my panel on purpose, just so that way I had plenty of room to make it fit my panel. I have a couple of sequin mixes from Simon Says Stamp. This was a heart mix, and then I also have another one called Frosted Cupcake, or Cupcake Frosting. And I'm going to go ahead and sprinkle both of those inside of my shaker. I really liked the combination of these two colors. I'll go ahead and fold up that last edge of my shaker well, and then that's going to complete the edge-to-edge shaker part. So I'll get all those sequins moving. So we have them all mixed up. They look so pretty in there. And so now I'm going to pull in that stylized heart. So I have some clear liquid adhesive. This is some Ultra Bond from Thermoweb. And I'm just putting small dots of that clear adhesive on the backside of my die cut heart here. And I'll line this up right over top of the stylized heart stenciling. These two products can be used together or on their own, so they line up perfectly if you want to use them together. And now that heart looks like it's floating above the stenciled heart on the inside of the shaker. It's just a cool effect. My sentiment is going to get popped up along the right hand side of the card, and I'll just go ahead and use a bit of foam tape to attach that down. The last thing I did was attach this entire shaker onto an A2 top folding card. I just used a white card base, and then that's going to complete this edge-to-edge stenciled shaker card. I just love how these pinks turned out. They were so pretty, and the combination of the stylized heart with the peony and leaves stencils, those two look so pretty together. And I love the fact that the stylized heart die works so well with the stenciling, so that way if you wanted to, you could stencil that stylized heart in so many different colors and then put a nice crisp white die cut stylized heart on top, or use some glitter cardstock like I did. So many possibilities and so many ways you could use all these products. I loved how they all paired together. So I hope that you were inspired by this project that I shared. I really enjoyed making it, and I hope that you will check out the new release from Simon Says Stamp called To the Moon. I have links to it down in the video description if you're watching this on YouTube, or if you're on my blog, I have picture links down at the bottom of the post. Thanks again for tuning in, friends. I will be back very soon with more to share with you all. But until I see you again, I hope everyone has a very wonderful day. Bye!